this is Samuel Lee, and I'm the drummer of Red Rain, and I'm having some fun on the All Over Place podcast where the funsanity never ends.
Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live. I'm your host, Eric Pervasic, with another Threefer tonight, and it's a unique Threefer situation tonight. But we've got three of the gang in the house this evening. Jim, how are you tonight?
I'm excellent. How about you?
Ready to rock and roll. It's a good Friday, and
Indeed,
it's the best weekend in Christianity. So I'm in a great mood.
It's a good Friday in more ways than one.
That's right. And Christine, hello. We're trying out new lights and new microphones tonight, folks. But as you can tell, Marty not with us. There's a work emergency yet again. These people don't know what Marty's Threefer schedule is ever. But as a stroke of luck has it, Marty will be submitting his Threefer answers.
Making a special appearance.
Making special appearances throughout and through the magic of editing. It will be a Threefer with the whole bunch here. In the world of non-illusion. For those old enough to remember the Doug Henning joke there, that's right. I'm aging myself on that one. The world of illusion. All right. But tonight's Threefer, submitted by one of our subscribers. And Jim, do you want to give an official shout out by name? Or does he want to remain nameless? Just we have a subscriber submitting the topic tonight.
I'll give a shout out to my brother-in-law, Tom. He suggested it.
Excellent. All right. Well, Tom, thank you. Tom, thank you for being a listener. And folks, we do want to remind you before we get going, we thank you for listening to All Over the Place. So please remember, subscribe, like, share, help us grow. This isn't possible without you. And, help us bump those algorithms up, subscribe, like, share, and we'll keep these Threefers and all the awesome guests coming at you. But tonight's Threefer, top 3 musicians turned actor, and the plus one is an actor who turned musician. And just as a disclaimer, because I was getting ridden on this one, I won't say who. Maybe I was riding myself. Anyway, but we are not taking people who did biopics and just were like, however amazing a guy like Val Kilmer or Jamie Foxx or Reese Witherspoon was, they didn't go on to make albums or have a pseudo career as a musician coming from the actor thing. So we're not going to be doing that one. Thank you. So yes. As awesome as all those people were, and Austin Butler, can't forget Austin Butler and Rami Malek as well. But
too easy.
I know those are but those amazing performances. But they were acting as an awesome lead singer. So, but we're going to get it kicked off with top 3 musicians turned actors. Jim, your brother-in-law brought this to us. We're going to kick off with you.
Okay, so for my number 3, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to preface this by saying for my list, I am only picking musicians that showed some real acting range, that went beyond, because a lot of musicians basically play variations on themselves, and they do that very well. But and it's always entertaining to watch, but not necessarily acting per se.
Right.
So, so obviously a lot of fun to watch musicians will not make the list because of that. But anyway, so my number 3 is Harry Connick Jr., who is of course, a wonderful jazz musician out of New Orleans, and has one of the most soothing, wonderful voices of all time. As anyone who's heard his voice, heard him sing, heard his voice work,
salute to When Harry Met Sally.
Indeed. And he's got an amazing voice and very charming guy. And a lot of times the roles he plays kind of plays to that strength. Even when he's playing a soldier in something like Memphis Belle, he's always kind of a charming fellow. But if you've seen Copycat, where he played an absolute psycho serial killer, one of the creepiest movie villains I've ever seen, he knocked it out of the park, and I had no idea he had that kind of acting in him. He was so good in that, and a guy who grew up with a judge for a mother and a district attorney for a father. I don't know how he played such an evil character that well.
Probably through his parents' notes. You know, I mean,
It could be, yeah. But just amazing performance, and he's been in some other darker kind of roles. But to have that kind of range for someone who is trained as a jazz singer, is pretty impressive. So that is my pick, and I think I wish he would do more of those kind of roles because he's really good in them.
Didn't even think about Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah, I
Excellent
forgot
call.
he was in that.
Excellent call.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great call.
All right, Christine, to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going old school for my first one, and anyone like just prolific musician, prolific beyond prolific classic musician. But if you've seen him act, like I actually loved Manchurian Candidate, which he was in, Frank Sinatra. Amazing, just phenomenal. So that's.
I thought about Old Blue Eyes. I mean, he's Oscar nominated, and he's an Oscar winner too, right, Jim? Or is he just nominated?
I believe he was just nominated.
Okay,
but I would have to double check that. Fun fact: that movie is arguably. I don't think it's ever been verified, but it's often cited as the first time that martial arts has ever been used in a Hollywood movie. When he has his fight scene with Henry Silva in that. So. First martial arts in a Hollywood movie done by Frank Sinatra. Go figure that.
Swing, baby, kick.
Yeah, love that movie though.
But yeah, he is.
I know he's done a lot of other parts as well, and
But again, he's usually playing Frank Sinatra. But in this one, he's playing something completely different, and he does it so well that you could easily see him just playing just about anything. He's really good in that.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal movie. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It never should have been remade. But that's another story.
The remake was all right.
Wow, shooting down Denzel. That's another show.
You know, I love me some Denzel, but not the best script he ever picked.
It happens, even to the best of them. All right, Marty Zamora, over to you for your number 3 or your bronze, however you want to do it.
All right. Thank you, Eric. For my number 3, and some may say that's not real music, but they're wrong, is Ice Cube. Spent many years in the rap hip hop scene with his buddies, Dre and the like. And then in 91, I believe, 91, Boys in the Hood came out. Fantastic. I mean, the movie itself was really good, but it turns out the guy could act. He was probably mostly doing himself, but still, Doughboy was a really good, believable character. And you don't often see guys come right out of the gate with something like that. That's a dramatic thing, and also really good acting. And then it was about 4 years later or so, 95. Higher Learning, I think, came next, which, that movie was, again, gritty, very intense drama, and he was fantastic in it. And it wasn't a giant role, but it was a pretty important one in the movie. And then the Friday franchise started, which he wrote. I mean, at least wrote most of it. And that franchise, I think, has, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe. Diminishing returns, I'll admit, but the first couple 3 were pretty funny, pretty good stuff. And he went on, like a lot of these guys did, as they had kids, they started making more family-friendly movies, which you can't blame them. They want to, everybody wants to see dad on the screen, and, if you got a movie like Higher Learning, you can't take the kids to that. So anyway, if only based on those 3, I mean, really, really solid, but he has a giant amount of movies he's been in, and obviously his music is, he had a huge career in that. So number 3, Ice Cube.
All right. So
interesting choice.
And Jim, I'm glad you brought up Harry Connick Jr. And I'm going to go. Although this guy has basically played variations of himself, he's also stepped outside of like his goofy kind of persona. Chris Isaac. I realize he's pretty much just he's it's been primarily his best roles for me have been in Jonathan Demme movies. Just really quick cameo stuff like that.
Right.
But I loved it on Friends. I thought he showed a lot of great comic timing on that one, opposite Phoebe for their scenes. And Chris Isaac, great musician. I don't know how much of a stretch, how much he can pull off, you know, like Jim brought up with Copycat with Harry Connick Jr. or a Sinatra. But Chris Isaac, every time I see him on screen, I know I'm in for just like, yeah, this is going to be a good fun time. And of course, as the uncle who recorded The Wonders when I believe they still may have been the Oneaters at that point. So, but Chris Isaac, my number 3.
I forgot he was in that movie. I do remember him from in Silence of the Lambs, playing a cop in that. Very brief, but I do remember he didn't seem like a musician at all. He seemed like very very professional in that. And yeah, for whatever reason, Jonathan Demme seems to favor him. But yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential. He could spread his wings in some different stuff. But I haven't seen a lot of what he's done acting wise. So, and
I didn't see enough of the Chris Isaac show. I think it was on Showtime or where they had his own show. So yeah, Chris Isaac, much love. So all right, Jim, back to you.
I believe Christine's, or did you already have your turn, Christine?
You went first.
Okay.
It's all over
going so fast.
We sometimes confuse ourselves. It's usually me confusing things, but we're doing this around the horn thing now.
Going around the horn. All right. Yeah. So, all right. My number 2 is Dwight Yoakam. Obviously a great country singer. Sings what maybe my favorite country song ever, 1,000 Miles from Nowhere, and but just unbelievably talented actor. Incredibly talented. So going back to the 90s, when he did Sling Blade and some other movies back then, and one of my favorite villain roles is in Panic Room. He plays one of the robbers in that, and and all the way up to a few years ago, he had a really funny cameo in Steven Soderbergh's Logan Lucky. And yeah, he's all over the place. He does all kinds of stuff, but he's always, man, he's got such a distinctive voice. He's got great comic timing when he does comedy. He does
Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers. Yeah, him and Rebecca De Mornay duking it out. Oh my gosh, what a scene. What a way to start a movie. Holy cow. And of course he does intensity so well when he gets into something like Panic Room. Incredible. Yeah, just incredible. And he even wrote and directed his own Western. It was a movie called South of Heaven, West of Hell, a Western that came out a while ago. I might have been Bridget Fonda's last role, one of her last roles. She was in that. But anyway, kind of an odd, quirky Western. But yeah, he just decided this is my labor of love. I'm going to write, direct, and star in it. And kind of a fun little Western. But yeah, he's been all over Hollywood, and I don't think anybody saw him coming as such a good actor, but he's really, really good character actor. He's really, really talented guy.
Yeah, really opened eyes with like I said, Sling Blade, and just everything after that. Just good stuff.
For sure, yeah. And one of my favorites is Crank, where he played this crazy doctor that Jason Statham's calling on the phone and all this. Well, he's I don't know if you've seen that movie. Jason Statham's like his heart's giving out the entire movie, and he's trying to keep it pumping, and he's calling up Dwight Yoakam, and Dwight Yoakam's like on a plane, and just all this just going through all these crazy things while on the phone with him, trying to keep him alive, and just such a fun movie. But yeah, he does so many different kinds of notes. He hits them all really well. So yeah, really good actor.
Meeting Jim's criterion tonight, you've got to be able to play more than just yourself. Nicely done. All right, Christine, to you.
Well, I don't know if it qualifies that she always plays herself, but I'm going with Queen Latifah for my second pick. She's been in so many different, and of course, great music artist, but she's been in The Equalizer and Last Holiday, Set It Off, Girls Trip, Living Single, of course, back in the day. But she's just I've been very impressed with what she's done as far as acting goes. And of course everybody knows her as a musician.
And keeping up with Steve Martin and Eugene Levy and bringing down the house.
Exactly right. Yeah, I forgot to mention that one, but yeah, yep.
All right. She was actually on my short list on that one. So yeah, I like the call. All right, Marty Zamora, to you for your silver.
All right, all right. The silver medal goes to, brace yourselves, the king, Elvis friggin' Presley. If you say he's not deserving, I'll fight you. He is so deserving. I'll admit that he's not a accomplished actor. He's not gonna wow anybody with his acting talents. But the guy made a lot of movies, sometimes 2 a year. And let's face it, your music career does have a big, big impact. I mean, hell, if Clint Eastwood or De Niro or one of these guys did one album, you could include him on this list because of the massive amount of movie impact. Yeah, I've heard it before. Doesn't matter. Elvis friggin' Presley. I mean, his movies, Love Me Tender, I think was the first one. Yeah, Love Me Tender. Uh, how about a little Jailhouse Rock? Anybody heard of that? What else? The GI Blues. That was cool. Right, they're campy and dumb and dorky, but whatever. GI Blues. What else? Blue Hawaii. Can't forget that one. My favorite, Kid Galahad, where he plays a boxer. Charles Bronson was in that. So don't mess with Charles Bronson. And they go on and on. He made like, one or two a year from, I don't know, 56 to I think 68, maybe. Yeah, 69 was his last one. Change of Habit. No idea. Don't care. Anyway, Elvis, the King Presley. That's my number 2. And if you don't like it,
Oh, come on, Marty. I can't believe you went with that one. That's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Oh, that's it. I can't vote Marty off the island because, well, that just wouldn't be cool. But
how funny would it be if he picked any that we picked?
We're just dissing our own.
It might come up. Actually,
come on, what are you thinking? Jeez.
As an honorable mention, and Marty's going to go. This may be one that he brings up actually, but because I know how much he loves The Sopranos. And again, there's not a whole lot of range with this guy. I just enjoy watching him. But little Steven Van Zandt, loved him on Sopranos, playing Silvio. And I also liked him on Lilyhammer, the Netflix show, which I wish would have lasted more seasons, but Springsteen's touring too much, so he's needed on the music stage. But I did watching Little Steven, and that's Marty. That's a favorite of Marty's too, out from Sopranos. But that's an honorable mention for me. My number 2, my silver, I'm going to go with Mark Wahlberg, who came out starting back in the 90s, of course, with Boogie Nights. Didn't know what to expect. Not a huge taxing role for someone. Now, and what's the movie he did with Reese Witherspoon? Jim played a complete psycho.
Fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so impressive. I forgot the title, but it's he just really went off the rails on that one, and then to switch into Boogie Nights, more like a starring role for him, and just what we tend not those of us who love the Planet of the Apes franchise, we don't want to talk about that too much, but The Fighter, especially The Fighter, and of course Oscar nominated for The Departed. And I think the only one in that movie who, of course, Boston native, who was actually able to pull off a credible Boston accent the entire time in The Departed. So maybe that's what got him the best supporting actor nomination. I don't know. But I again, much like with Chris Isaac, I know when I see Mark Wahlberg on screen, I'm going to enjoy it. He's also proven how well he can do comedy, especially going up, being in multiple movies now with Will Ferrell and being able to hold his own there with the guy with amazing comic chops. And when The Fighter, much like Ray Liotta, was at the epicenter of all that, and everyone around Ray Liotta got awards for Goodfellas, but Ray didn't. I'll never figure that one out, but a show for another time. But Mark Wahlberg in The Fighter, everyone around him got the awards, and he didn't, and he was the great center of that movie.
Yep, I'm going to second you on that and add his brother Donnie as well. who is also a really good actor. He started on New Kids on the Block, and then
Yep.
he goes from that to Blue Bloods and that amazing cameo at the beginning of The Sixth Sense. I mean, the guy's incredibly talented. He's obviously overshadowed by his big brother, but or younger brother, but yeah, really talented in his own right. So man, the Wahlberg brothers really doing something right as far as their talents are going, because they made that crossover into Hollywood really well.
And making for a great inspiration on Entourage.
Indeed.
Giving Kevin Dillon something to do in the shadow of Matt Dillon. But we digress. So, Jim, onto your numero uno, the gold.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start out by giving a couple of honorable mentions. One is Mick Jagger, who is actually a pretty solid actor.
Yes.
Sometimes he does kind of lean toward playing himself, but he's actually got quite a bit of range in his wheelhouse. Whether it's being a bad guy in Free Jack, or he did a indie movie with Andy Garcia called The Man from Elysian Fields. He was really, really good in that. I wish more people had seen that because his performance was excellent. So he's a good pick. Another one would be Tim McGraw, who
I almost thought about mentioning him. Yeah.
Yeah, he did some Peter Berg movies. He was really good in that, and of course, The Blind Side, playing the husband in that. He was excellent. Surprisingly good actor, Tim McGraw. I think he'll probably be in more stuff in the future. But definitely a solid actor.
Can't stand him musically, but Friday Night Lights, holy shit, blew me away in that.
Absolutely, yeah, he was incredible in that. Yeah, and those are my honorable mentions. So for my number one, just because he is incredibly talented and incredibly successful, maybe the biggest crossover from singing to acting of all time, Will Smith. He's got to be my number one, because he's just, he started out doing doing family friendly rap and just being that kid from Philly, and he probably could have had a really successful career, but that guy shot for the moon, and he really made it. I mean, just was biggest star of the late 90s, early 2000s, did more amazing movies than I can count, and really did some incredible performances beyond just the blockbuster acting. I mean, something like Pursuit of Happiness, and some of those kind of dramatic work, even in something like the Apocalypse movie. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I Am Legend. His acting in that was absolutely incredible. I mean, you look at it; it's some of the best one-note acting, like one person acting out there. It's really, really good. So, obviously he's gotten a little weird lately. Let's just put it that way. But just insanely talented, and I think I remember as a kid seeing what was that movie called? The movie with Ted Danson where and Whoopi Goldberg, where they're Made in America. That's what it was called. And
Made in America, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, Will Smith was just this dorky kid with glasses who was simping for this girl, and just being the comic relief, and nobody would have guessed what a huge star he would be back then. And he was talented, but I mean, the way he turned that career, his singing career into something huge. Just going from like sitcoms and music all the way into just being the biggest movie star in the world was really incredible, and insanely talented guy. So he's by necessity, he's my number one.
All right, Christine, over to you.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to mention do a couple honorable mentions also. I'm not a big rap fan, but I do like British rap, and Mos Def. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He was amazing in that. He was so good. Loved it. And I was like, it's Mos Def. And I think he's done a couple other things too, but that's one of them. Common is just an awesome. He's been in the John Wick movies, and God, I'm like totally drawing a blank, but he's been in a lot of different things also. And of course, a very big musician as well. But you guys actually took my number one, Mark Wahlberg. Of course, he was playing a musician in Rockstar, which is one of my favorite movies I've mentioned in the past. But he's just been like, it seems like he's got a new movie coming out like almost every week. And he's just made an amazing career for himself, from like Ted to Family Plan and Shooter and what was that one? Uncharted, I think that he was in a little bit ago. Pain and Gain was awesome. Loved that movie also.
Hilarious.
Wild movie, but yeah, really good. The Daddy's Home movies, Father Stew. I mean, he's just done so much. And coming from his little, Good Vibrations.
Yeah.
He's definitely made more of a name for himself as an actor, and I think a lot of people almost forget that he came out as a musician at first.
Yep.
I think people want to forget.
Yes.
Good Vibrations.
His brother has definitely made a bit more of his name being a musician, but he's just done a great job.
He has
for himself. Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually my original number one pick too. So thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
we'll
to your mother.
We'll get to you in a second, Miss.
Remember that? Was he in Four Brothers also? Was he in that?
Great in Four Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie also.
I really,
I've seen that forever.
And he can do acting, rom-com, drama, like all of it.
He can. Yeah.
I'm sure there are other movies that I'm forgetting where he wasn't, or the movie wasn't that good, or he wasn't that good. But I can only think of the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, a movie where I just didn't enjoy watching his performance. But that's more of the movie's fault than his.
Yeah. Occasionally he can come off a little bland. Like I didn't like the Italian Job remake that much. I thought he was kind of a boring lead in that. Maybe just because the supporting characters were so good. But he didn't really shine in that one. But I mean he's and some of his '90s stuff I wasn't that impressed with. But man, starting with in the early 2000s, he really just hit on something good. And especially when he got synced up with Peter Berg and they were making
Lone Survivor is amazing.
Oh my gosh!
Well, he made this whole trilogy: Lone Survivor, Patriots Day, and the oil pipeline movie, which I'm forgetting the name of, but three really really good movies. Some of the best movies I've seen in the last 20 years. Honestly, they're so good.
Yeah, he and Peter Berg definitely need to work together more. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Well, except for the Spencer Confidential movie, but we don't talk about that.
I liked that. The Netflix thing?
Yeah.
I liked it. Maybe it's Wahlberg light, but I enjoyed it. I was hoping they would do more. So
maybe because I grew up watching Spencer for Hire, I expected more out of it. I don't know.
See, I didn't. Maybe that's why I didn't have I didn't have expectations. So. But hey, Marty's sitting here. He's just waiting for his turn. So we're going to throw it over to Marty now for his numero uno.
Enough bickering. My pick is going to make that pick seem like a B-lister. That's right. I'm going to the very, very tippy top. There can be no others. This one is the best. All of the rest of your selections are null and void. Void. Null and void. Live, first take, one take. My number one, the gold medal, and the best singer turned actor. Drum roll? Don't need it. This guy doesn't need this big of a build-up. His name is Mark Wahlberg. Yep. It's a popular name, I know, on this list, but man, the guy. He has proven that he's just not some dumb Southie. He is the real deal. The first thing I ever saw him in was Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito. fantastic, just really good. It was a bit of an ensemble cast, but he was really good in it, and obviously Danny DeVito carried the thing, but he was still really good in it with a bunch of other people that were a bit unknown, but he was definitely not known. And I think that was 94 or 5, maybe something like that. But then just a stream of really good stuff. Boogie Nights, um, Perfect Storm. I mean, in there with a vet like George Clooney, held his own. I mean, again, he's kind of playing the same character, a dude from the Northeast, and he looks and sounds the part. But hey, it was really good. Um, Rockstar was mentioned, and that's a really fun movie, and he was really good in that. Managing to play a little younger than who he was, but he pulled it off really well. One that me and my wife and I really enjoy. It's an old John Wayne movie remake. Four Brothers, fantastic, fantastic. He was really good in that, and he carried that movie. He was the one that was the main guy, so the main brother, so to speak. And also there was a crossover guy in that too, Andre 3000, and he was really good, really good. Um, and then of course everyone, maybe not everyone, but most people can agree, The Departed, kick ass, great soundtrack, great movie. He was really good in that. Um, yeah, I mean he was kind of playing himself, playing a guy, but he does it well, and it all comes off really, really great. So, uh, Mark Wahlberg, and he's got a whole slew of other movies, but like it was said, the guy does one, I don't know, every other week or whatever. But yeah, his stuff's really good. Even the bad movies, he's sometimes good in. So, Marky Mark, without the Funky Bunch, is my number one pick because he's awesome.
All right, better choice that time around, Marty. I like that one. Nice. Much better than your second one. But now we're going to get to my capo de capo tutti. And Jim, turnabout is fair play. You stole my number one. Or actually, no, you didn't steal. We have excellent taste in our number one picks.
Fair.
And I want to go like the first. I mean, obviously, what he did, what Will Smith did, just coming out that he always was. You could tell that he had talent acting. You could tell he could do performance beyond just rapping, which was really good on those early. He's D-Jam the rapper, all that early stuff with Jazzy Jeff, but doing 6 Degrees of Separation. There's such a big deal about the gay kiss in that movie and whatever. Right. He really he shined in that one, or shone. But Where the Day Takes You, an indie movie, Laura San Giacomo. It was a who's who. Balthazar Getty. I don't want to forget anybody to quit naming, but Will Smith, amazing in that, and showed such range outside of to being able to play an affable comic role. And so that, and for everything Jim said, Will Smith number one. Just said, yeah, a lot of misfires in recent years, but the guy always rebounds and just he's always trying. He's willing to take risks as an actor, and that's, I think, what makes you a better actor. If you can take risks. So.
Yeah, so here's a controversial opinion, but I really liked Bright. He made that for Netflix a while ago. It was with I can't remember the director's name, but it was like an urban fantasy.
Yeah, that was I liked it. Yeah, no beef for me on that. Yeah.
That movie got so much dislike from people that. But I loved it. I thought it was so well done. David Ayer, that's the name I was thinking of. The guy made Training Day and made a bunch of really good movies. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was really well done, and I liked his performance in it a lot. He had to internalize a lot of things and deal with all these external concepts of the fantasy world and everything. And yeah, I really thought he nailed that movie. I thought it was really good. So.
Well, Will Smith, 2 number ones, and maybe even 3. I might have to edit that part out.
He might have.
I'm sure somewhere in Marty's top 3, but we'll find out soon enough.
Could be
with the magic of selfie edits later on. And I do want to give a couple of quick shout outs to former guests on this show. And AJ Laird, who I asked him, because I've known AJ since college. I met him first in acting classes. He's been in a couple of very, very good bands. I asked him, so would I list you as an actor who is also a musician, or a musician who is an actor? He's like, yes. It all kind of melds together. So I said, that's an acceptable answer. And also, I want to throw a shout out to Zach Selwyn, new single dropping this week, From Zevon to Levon, or Levon to Zevon. Sorry, Zach, it's one of those two folks, but Zach with Country Linen coming out. But Zach, I knew first as a musician, as a rapping Jewish cowboy. When I first met him was Zachariah and the Lobos Friars, but he had acting experience before that. So much like AJ, I think it's just like, are you an actor or a musician? Yes. So shout out to both of those guys, former guests here on All Over the Place. And
You're
with
here.
all of the musicians turned actors, we're now going to flip it to the +1. And these are one actor or actress who also became a musician. And we're going to start this one with Marty.
I do have one honorable mention, only because I love the movie so much and the song so much. Jeff Bridges was in Crazy Heart, and he did some singing in that. Flying and Fallen, and there was a few others. Somebody Else, that's a really good tune in the movie. And Maybe I Missed a Point was another song. Anyway, he did some good stuff in the movie, and he did some solo stuff. Not a lot, but pretty good. I liked him enough in the movie that he's an honorable mention. But There Can Be No Other, the great Kevin Bacon of the Bacon Brothers, who also was in a couple of movies. Obviously, his cinematic prowess is, very well known. I think he started with Animal House. That was the beginning of it all. But, everybody remembers it from Footloose. And for me, Tremors was my favorite Kevin Bacon character. Also my favorite Kevin Bacon movie. But there was a lot of others. I liked, what was the ghost one? Hollow Man. And what else? We have a list here. Few Good Men. Ah, yes, Jack Ross. Captain Jack Ross. He was really good. So apparently the Bacon Brothers, just in looking into it, I knew they had a lot of music. I think like 11, 12 albums or something like that. Crazy. That's kind of a music career, wouldn't you say? Anyway, there we go. There's my actor turned musician, the great Kevin Bacon. And I'm sure I could go 7 degrees from me to him somehow. Anyway, there you have it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good one, Marty. Okay.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't thought of that.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I would watch them again and again.
It
right.
became a part of me.
That's a whole different show, too.
Yep.
All right. Jim, to you for your actor who became a musician.
Okay, so my original pick was going to be Hugh Jackman, but I'm not going to go with him because he was basically doing musicals before he even got into acting in movies. So not really a fair pick, but I just wanted to shout him out because the guy's insanely talented in both of those things. So instead, I'm going to go with an actor that I don't actually like all that much as an actor, but was a surprisingly good singer, and that is Hugh Jackman's co-star in Les Mis, Anne Hathaway. Never been a huge fan of her as an actress. She's okay, but never been. I'm not really big into a lot of her movies. But she's just, as an actress, she just hasn't really engaged me a lot. But I must say, when she sang "I Dreamed a Dream" in Les Mis, that was unbelievably good. I had chills at how good that was, and it hit me so hard. That just amazing singing performance in that. I had no idea she could sing because I didn't know a whole lot about her personally. I didn't know she had a background in musical theater. I think I found out later she did sing in the Princess Diaries or something else she did that was princess related. But anyway, I'd never heard her sing. I had no idea she could sing. And I've been a fan of Les Mis. I've seen it on stage in London before, and I love that show. But so you know, I'm a huge fan of that show. But I had no idea she could perform a song quite that well, and she was incredible in that. I loved her performance. It was so like I say, I've heard the song many a time. The version they did was so raw and real with the close up right on her face and one take. She sang the whole thing in one take, no cuts or anything. And you know, and I think she had tears streaming down her face halfway through, and it was just beautiful and heartbreaking. I loved that performance. So that is my pick. I don't know if she's ever gonna do any other kind of singing, like release anything, but yeah, she's a really, really good singer.
All right. Well, Christine, to you.
I gotta be contradictory. I'm calling bullshit on that answer.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm losing you there. What?
He's not a musician.
She can sing. She's a musician.
I was trying to slide through here, Jim. I was trying
Because she sings well doesn't make her a musician. What has she released?
She released the soundtrack to Les Mis, and it was a huge hit.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, Marty's not even here, but we got what Marty wants. We want controversy. We got bullshit called. Christine,
Okay.
Right.
out to you.
If I had a rubber band, I would sling it at you.
Me or Jim?
Jim.
I got a chainsaw. I can take it.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Tommy
one of
and
those
Andy.
too.
Yeah. Fighting fire with the fire giving. Nice.
Okay.
I'm gonna do like the Michael Keaton at the Oscars.
That's the way I like it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's your
Oh,
controversy.
no. Very, very. I'm sorry. I got to interrupt there. Am I the only one who was annoyed by the fact? I love that bit. Don't get me wrong, with Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger up there. But Michael Keaton was not the Batman that Schwarzenegger went up against.
That was George Clooney.
Thank you.
They should have cut to Michael Keaton and have him be like, "Huh? What? Who's that?" But anyway,
So,
I don't know if anybody would have gotten that
Yes,
joke. But anyway,
yeah.
good. Jim and I are sympathetic on that one. All right.
Okay. So as a Gen Xer, I loved My So-Called Life in the younger days. Know where I'm going with this. Jordan Catalano. Yeah. Girls' dreams, girls' teenage dreams. But yeah, so, and I will preface this by saying, I am not a big 30 Seconds to Mars fan. Kind of annoys the crap out of me. But holy crap, Jared Leto is as big an actor as he is a musician. Like, seriously. He legit does both. He's been in major movies, been nominated for awards, like the whole deal. And I'm confident he's probably won Grammys and stuff. Like, yeah. Everybody knows who he is as an actor. He was in Morbus and, American Psycho and, tons of different movies.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yes, thank you. Dallas Buyers Club.
Blade Runner
Joker.
2049.
Huh?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yes, Blade Runner. Yes, yeah. Big long list of movies. Actual actor and actual musician.
See, I think between him and Keanu Reeves and Russell Crowe, it's just when you get famous enough, you just get your own rock band. You just issued it, and whether you can sing or not. Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Costner's got a band.
Yeah, there you go.
Sinise.
Gary Sinise.
And I got to give a shout out to another former guest here, Nick Searcy.
Yep.
Quite the piano player. I love how he skewered the Imagine song that Gal Gadot put together during the COVID stuff. Nick, much love to Nick. And with it, I don't have many regrets in life, folks. Nick Searcy was supposed to sing with my band, Glorious Disaster, at a Republican Party Animals event back in LA. And I had a friend come in from Texas, and he wanted to sing with us. And I'm like, Nick, would you mind? I should have had both of them come up. Nick was going to sing Tush with Glorious Disaster. Nick, I'm sorry that I didn't mean to bump you like Johnny Carson or Letterman bumping the guy at the end there. But
Bumped Nick Searcy.
Not many people can say that, and I'm not proud of it. But yeah.
Just think of the blackmail footage you would have had on him for all those years after that. Him singing Tush. Oh man.
I would never blackmail Nick Searcy, but Nick, it's fun watching Nick. I almost wish that there would have been like a side thing off of Justify where Nick went off and just formed his own band outside of Harlan. But that's unfortunately didn't happen. But I wish it could. And a quick shout out to Billy Gibbons. That's why I wore this instead of my Peter Gabriel shirt. Peter Gabriel, musician. He kind of played a variation of himself in Scorsese's After Hours. But Jim, I believe it was you who brought up Billy Gibbons as one of your on the TV shows, band on a TV show.
Oh yeah. He was on. He was no, not House. He was on Bones.
Bones. I'm sorry, the Bones. Okay, one of those medical shows I don't watch. So I'm glad you were the one who. So, but for me, the actor, this list, I had to narrow it down so much. Just very quick shout outs to Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, who have so successfully combined music into their acting and all that with the Thamesmen or Spinal Tap, of course. But Kevin Bacon, sorry, Jell, but the Bacon Brothers are a fun little acoustic act, and Kevin Bacon, of course, got to rock out with Old 97s in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Much love to Kevin Bacon. Phil Collins, who, of course, started as an actor, doing little bit roles in movies, then had a semi-successful career as a musician. And great coming back, playing a sleazy. Hey, come on, he was great, very great sleazy on Miami Vice.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, how many musician actors on that show? But my number one, without further ado, a man who got ripped off out of a supporting actor. Look, if you're going to lose Alan Arkin, I'm sorry, that was the Alan Arkin Lifetime Achievement Award for Little Miss Sunshine. Eddie Murphy got screwed for Dreamgirls. Eddie Murphy is my favorite actor who became a musician. And whether it was like one
he likes party all the time.
Who doesn't?
He got to hang and make an album with Rick James.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't lose in basketball to him. That was Charlie. But Eddie Murphy, and then you can say a lot of his mimicry powers, but he channeled his inner James Brown for Dreamgirls, and just. But but the guy can make music. He can make movies. Shows range as an actor later years, but you can rely on him for comedy anytime. And I just look. I was a teenager. My girl wants to party all the time. I liked that song then. The song that he did with Michael Jackson. The guy, he's had a successful career. Not as successful as his acting, but Eddie Murphy. That is my favorite actor, who also has a musician little side gig.
Don't forget the I Want the Knife song he did. I want
Eric
the
has
knife.
never seen that movie. Can
What?
you believe that? Eric has never seen the
Oh
Golden
my
Child.
gosh.
Which movie is that?
The Golden Child.
Golden Child.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Bruh.
I want the
The
knife.
knife.
Give it to me, please.
It's one of Eddie Murphy's best bits, and you haven't. Wow. Okay.
I know. I don't know.
You
why
give me
I
so
was-
much crap for missing movies, and you haven't seen that.
I look. I'll admit it. I had. I don't know what craw was stuck where at the time.
That must have been when you were in a coma.
It very well could have been. That was what, 86, 87?
Could be.
Could be. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, he's probably doing lame stuff like sports and dating people and
Yeah. Who knows?
stuff people do when they're not watching movies like I do.
It was the 86. It was 86.
See,
86.
I very well may have been comatose, and my sense of humor may have been
That
skewed when I
would give
came
you a
out of it.
pass.
Well, I did end up seeing Back to School that summer, and Ferris Bueller was that summer. So, but tell you what, before the next Threefer, I will watch The Golden Child.
Okay. Fair enough.
Boom, stamping it down. And I can't believe none of us brought up. And then this guy coming off a very acclaimed guitar album last year with Jeff Beck, before Jeff Beck passed away. Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Yes. He was in the new Basement tapes. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but see, folks, a big list here.
Oh, isn't he in that that vampire band with
Hollywood Vampires? Yeah, with
Hollywood
Ah.
Vampires.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the new Hollywood Vampires with Joe Perry and Alice Cooper. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you know
Hey,
who got him his career start when he was a guitar player? Got him his acting career start?
Tom Petty.
Nope. No. Who got Johnny Depp his acting career start? No, Nicolas Cage.
Ah.
Yeah, him and Nicolas Cage were friends. Nicolas Cage convinced him to move out to L.A. and become an actor when he was just a musician, and got him started with his first. I think he actually introduced him to his first.
His first role.
No, his first manager or agent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
Johnny
so
Depp.
he got the agent, then he went on the charts, or was that before he got the roadie named Bart?
We're not talking about Tom Petty right now.
I brought it back.
Focus.
I do it.
Oh Lord.
All right, folks, we could go. Well, I could go on like this for seconds, but that's our Threefer. So again, thank you for listening to us here on All Over the Place. The Threefer, actors turned musicians and musicians turned actors. We'll be back with you soon here on All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Take care, everyone.
Woohoo!
All Over the Place, where the fun sanity never ends. Shut up, old man. I'm not done yet. I paid the fool. Don't get more tea.